Hello, welcome back to another episode. I'm just taking all of the filler that was left on the lower part of the front bumper here so I can clean them all up. I want to get all of the panels cleaned and do them in sequence, so when I'm doing filling and repairs and the fiberglassing I can actually do more without waiting for each layer to dry on individual panels. Now that I have cleaned the PVA off all of the moulds, I have a more clear indication of what I need to do to get these ready for making panels from. There are a few areas on some of the panels that are quite thin, so I think before I start prepping all the panels, I think I will reinforce the bits that are weak. So on the rear quarters we have the bits around the light unit. They were obviously the hardest to get to because they were upside down when they were on the car. So now that I have the panels off, I can actually turn them the correct way to get a good thick layer of fiberglass to make them stronger for when I pull the panels off from the mould. Now that I have gel coat on the inside of the mould, I have to make sure that I do not get any resin on there. So I'll go around all the areas that I'm going to put some extra fiberglass on and make sure the resin doesn't run onto the gel coat underneath. Also, when I put the extra layers of fiberglass on, I have to make sure that the panel isn't under load, so it's not distorted when I put the fiberglass, because then it will more likely stay in that position. So I have to bear that in mind with each panel I do. As this body kit is completely unique to this car, it's a one-off, it's important for me to make sure the moulds will last. I need to make sure I can pull multiple panels from one mould. This is why I'm going around each one individually and making sure every single bit is strong enough to withstand some abuse. Because if I break the moulds, then I only have the panels on the car that I can then make another mould from, so it doesn't make any sense to rush this bit and then cause problems further down the road. I just have to let these panels dry off now, then I can focus on the gel coat, sanding it down to a 1200 grit and filling any imperfections before I make the panels on the car. Now all the moulds are reinforced and dry, so the only thing I have to do now is prep the gel coat so it's ready for taking a panel from. I'm going to start off with 600 grit wet and dry, and then I'll move on to 1200. Now that I've gone over each panel down to 1200 grit, the next thing to do is to trim around the edges of the moulds, and then I can go ahead and do the final prep and filling. Then I can go ahead and start with the prep before the wax process. trimmed all the moulds, so now I can get on with the filling and the prep work. One thing you will notice on the front bumper, the top part of the centre grille is flaking off and it's pulled away from the fiberglass slightly. But I am planning on making the grille much bigger, so I'm going to make the panel from this mould, so I don't care about this area. So once the panel is made up, I can do a final trim and shape it. I think I'm going to keep the original style, the shape of the corners. The reason I'm going to make this much bigger is I'm going to get more airflow for the intercooler. Now that all the imperfections on all of the panels are filled and it's sanded back down to 1200 grit, the next thing to do is to take these outside, wash them down, and then start the waxing process. Today I have washed, waxed and PVA'd all of the panels. So the next thing to do is put the gel coat on, and then we'll be at the same stage as the rear wing, so I can go ahead and do the final layer of fiberglass. I think I'm going to try and go thinner, maybe just put a couple of layers on for the actual panel so they're a bit lighter. I have let the first layer of gel coat dry now, so I just have to do one more quick coat and then we can get on with the fiberglassing. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.